Hey guys, I'm back in person-ish because today is 9/11/2021. In other words, today marks the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attacks from the terrorist group, the Taliban, on the United States. It's pretty sad. And I don't say that lightly, not as a joke or as anything, but it is pretty sad. I drive around my neighborhood and I see flags everywhere. Flags of unity. Flags that we need to comfort us and show that we still have pride and nationalism inside of us. For me, I can't say a whole bunch, as I'm not from the United States. In fact, I wasn't even alive when the attacks took place. But for my mother, my father, my grandparents, my aunts and uncles, for all my American family, and for my American friends, and even the part American that I am now, I feel nothing but sadness today. My mother actually worked in aviation on the day the attacks took place. She saw the attacks firsthand, and she was a flight coordinator. She was in charge making from when the flights took place, took off, to when they landed. When the attacks took place in New York and Washington, everyone was completely unprepared. The attacks just happened randomly. Recently, on my own accord, I watched a documentary that took place on 9/11. It was the saddest thing I have ever watched. Ever. It really was. Because they showed everything raw. Nothing was censored. They showed the fear in the people's eyes. The president at the time flew down a few days after the attacks, and he had to explain to the people there. A bunch of people gathered to see him, to see him because they still had, family members in the rubble, and they wanted a little bit of hope that they could actually, make it, and they wouldn't be left and discarded. They wouldn't be forgotten. To hear them and their calls for just a little bit of hope, just hope that people will come out, makes me feel empty inside. Makes me feel useless. During the documentary, the president met this one lady. I don't remember her name. but her son was there the day the attacks took place, and she wanted to believe so badly that her son was still alive and somewhere trapped in the rubble. She wanted hope that he would come out. He never would. The president never forgot that name. You see, her son was a firefighter, off duty at the time, but when he saw how bad things were, he jumped into action. No uniform, no gear, nothing. He sacrificed his life so others could get out. So others could still be here today. That is a true hero. Willing to sacrifice for the greater good. I don't get people nowadays, especially my generation. See, some people in my generation, might not be all of it, but some, think that this is a joke. This stage here's a joke. I don't get why it's so funny. I don't get what's so funny about almost 4,000 people losing their lives. Innocent people, men, women, and children murdered. For what? I never understood why the Taliban did it. What do they gain from it? I don't understand the actions of people sometimes. It's so... The people who died didn't deserve to die. They really didn't. Now, for those who know a little bit less about 9/11 than I do, 2 planes hit each tower of the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. A 3rd plane hit the Pentagon, and a 4th plane every single person on that plane, the 4th plane, is an American hero. What they did with the 4th plane, I believe, was going to hit Washington, D.C., the White House. But the people with the 4th plane, they heard over radio comm about what was happening, and they had a smart idea of creating a ruckus so the co-pilot, a terrorist, would come out and see what was going on. And when he did open the door, they rushed the cabin, and they all, as a group effort, though knowing they would all die, pushed the plane down into a nosedive and crashed it somewhere in Pennsylvania. Sorry, Philadelphia, not Pennsylvania. Watching the documentary that I did really gives you aspects of what everyone was thinking at that moment. I could tell you countless stories of what happened because I've asked countless people who were alive during that age. I've asked my siblings, my mother, my father, my aunts and uncles, even some of my teachers over the years. Every story is different, but every story is filled with fear and regret and sadness. Makes me wonder why people are the way they are. But as I drive, I feel a sense of pride and hope for a better future for all of us. A future where we don't have to worry about this threat at all. Or we will never again have to fear the people who committed these atrocities, these horrible acts of murder against a great nation. A nation where all my family lives. A nation where all my friends live. And a nation where I live. For I, nor anyone else, should ever have to fear people such as they ever again. As together we are strong. We stand stronger together than we do ever alone. And on that day, it didn't matter who you were, what you were doing, what age you were, what race you were, what sex you were. We were one. For on that day, 20 years ago, we were America. We were one nation, all together. And we had a strength of millions. This video is dedicated to all those who lost family members, friends, anyone, the September 11th attacks 20 years ago. May God rest their soul. I love you all. And thank you very much.